It's do or die time for the Florida State Seminoles. Are they going to buck up, or is this going to be the week we start talking about nothing else but Mike Norvell getting fired?
You are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Back into Locked On Seminoles. I am your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making Locked On Seminoles a part of your day each and every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We're going to be talking about Florida State at Stanford. Just going to do some basic stats today, talk about how that works for the Noles or not. To be honest, Stanford's a little bit better than I thought they would be. Got a veteran quarterback who's been around, never been a star, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to have some good news, finally. Lord only knows we could use it. It sounds like Deuce is going to play, but we're also going to discuss how that works in conjunction with one of my favorite things here on this show, saying that coaches always lie at press conferences. So I'll get into that a little bit. And then we're going to talk a little basketball at the end. But first off, I want to talk about some of the stats and some of the main themes here for this game. And before I do, just one basic note. Are you going to be ready to play football? I'm going to say that on every show this week here on Locked On Seminoles. Are you really ready? Not just show up, but is it a priority? Florida State played hard the last few weeks, and I'm not accusing them of quitting. I flat out did last year, and I was right. But we're at that point now that they have 3 losses. You can go one of 2 ways. Are they going to buck up and just play hard all the way through? The entire group, not part of the roster, mind you, not part, all of them. Or is this going to be one of those disjointed deals down the stretch, and it's kind of like a car trying to go down the highway with 3 wheels? What's it going to be? I don't know the answer to that, and I really don't have an opinion because this is a new group with so many different transfers. They got a lot of veterans. Guys have pride. You would think not, but it only takes a few players for it to go sideways. So keep that in mind as I break some of this down. I want to go over stats for Florida State's defense compared to Stanford's offense. I think it's actually a pretty good matchup, and it's interesting because Stanford, I think, will pick up a little steam, but they've got some problems too. First off, Ben Gulbranson. He was at Oregon State first 5 years of his career. He's a 60-year senior at Stanford. He's not spectacular, but he's a serviceable quarterback, pure pocket guy. He's rushed for minus 140 yards this year. Their offensive line stinks, but 59.2% completion rate out of 196 passes. He's completed 116, 1,445 yards, only 7.4 yards per attempt. That's pretty low. 6 TDs to 4 interceptions. Obviously, they're not a spectacular offense. It is what it is. CJ Williams is their best receiver. He's been in a couple of different programs. For their offense in general, just forget the quarterback for a second, rushing 92.7. That's awful. That's 126th out of 136 schools for Stanford. Passing offense, 240.8, 59th. Not atrocious, a little better than I thought it would be, honestly. Total offense for the Stanford Cardinal, 33.5 yards per game, 106th. And then scoring, this is belligerent based on how well they pass the football, but only 18.8. So when they get in the red zone, when things get tight because their O-line's not good, they can't run the ball, they struggle. They don't have a dynamic receiver. They got a couple pretty good ones, and we'll talk about Micah Ford here in a second at running back, but they don't have the ability to hammer it home. And Florida State, in my opinion, out of all the different things that I've analyzed about Stanford so far this year, I've watched them play a little bit. Their line plays bad. FSU should be able to eat them up in the run game. They shouldn't average more than 3 yards per carry for the entirety of the game. And I'm saying that even though Micah Ford, the running back they have out of New Jersey, 6 foot, 220 pounds, he's a hammer. Good football player. But you got to have somewhere to run. We're going to know based on just this area right here, and it's why I'm talking about the run game first, if this season for Florida State is over. Because they should dominate Stanford up front. 18.8 points per game. They've got a good running back, veteran quarterback, a couple of decent receivers, tight end's pretty good player, and they still can't score. What's that tell you? Well, I named everything on the offense but the offensive line. This is not the Andrew Luck offensive lines from the early 2010s, like the 2010 and 2011 Stanford teams. They were insanely good. Insanely good up front. They're not now. Florida State is massive. Darrell Jackson Jr. should have a lot of fun tossing guys around. If they double him, there'll be somebody else doing it. Florida State should have 8 or 9 tackles for loss in this game. If they don't, again, this season is all but over. You should dominate Stanford up front. The numbers, I mean, again, just to repeat it, 92.7 yards per game on the ground for Stanford. That's not good. That's not good at all. Passing, 240.8. To be honest, I'll give Gulbranson some credit. When your run game's that bad, to throw for that many yards, that's not too bad. It's 59th. If they had a true offensive line, they could run the ball a little better. It might be 260, 270 because they would be able to hit some more play action shots. That's something to think about. Now let's talk about Micah Ford. Again, 6 foot, 220 pounds, 91 carries, 400 yards on the dot, 4.4 yards per tote, 3 touchdowns. Not playing behind a good line, he still has those numbers. This is a good football player. If Florida State, again, are you focused? Do you want to be at this game? If they are, they'll still be up for a challenge, but they should be able to hit him quite often within the first 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. If you're playing your run gap fits right, which they did not against Pittsburgh, that's another story, he should run for 50 to 70 yards on roughly 20 carries. He shouldn't have a very good game. He should have 3 or 4 plays. He gets stuffed in the backfield. The numbers bear it out. The recruiting numbers bear it out. Stanford's got an interim head coach. There is not a single metric that favors Stanford in the run game against Florida State, other than Florida State just not wanting to be there. That is my concern. I've said that before, and I'll say it again, probably throughout this week. Does Florida State want to be there? As for Florida State's numbers defensively now, just to throw them out there, rushing defense, Florida State's pretty good. 116.3 yards per game allowed, 38th in the nation. Passing, this is the concern, 216.4, that's 63rd. Stanford probably could move the ball a little bit through the air. Total, 333 yards allowed per game, that's 45th. And scoring, this is the concerning thing. They are not clutch. The worst stat they have is they're giving up 23 points per game, 62nd. Too many times Florida State has given up the gash play or the what are you doing play, and it's killed them. 3rd and longs, quarterback getting loose, losing contain, more mental errors than it is physical, to be honest. And as much as I was down on the linebackers, this, that, and the other, this is holistically. Letting guys outside the pocket, a safety taking the wrong angle to a receiver or tight end or something, mental errors. It's pretty frustrating. But I think this is a pretty good situation overall in terms of the matchup. If Florida State can get them in 2nd down and 8 a lot or thereabouts, Gulbranson's a good quarterback, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's going to pick you apart. In Tony's defense, the way it's set up, they're probably not going to kill you on 3rd downs like some other teams do, because this guy can't move around. He's not like the Virginia quarterback. He's not even like Miami's quarterback. Carson Beck's got some mobility. This guy has a negative 140 yards in rushing. FSU has to find a way to get him on the ground and just force him to throw into tight windows. And even if they drive the field against the Noles, realistically, do I think that they're going to consistently do well in the red zone? Probably not. Can't run the ball well. They're not super explosive at receiver. Got some good players, but not anything insane. The Noles should do pretty well there. When we come back, I finally have some good news. Based on the press conferences today, sounds like Deuce is going to play, but we're going to get into that. I have a question in regards to Deuce Robinson's health. That is next here on Locked on Seminoles. Today's show is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to the intuitive controls. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends over at Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross-training thread, Powered by Peloton IQ. It's the most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is building for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. Whatever you like to do, if it's lifting more, if you want to cross-train consistently, you can mix it up with Peloton IQ. It has everything that you need and even a swivel screen so you can adjust whether you're on the floor or doing anything else. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Thank you once again for making Locked On Seminoles a part of your day each and every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Please become an everydayer if you have not already. Like and subscribe. Now, the good news. Deuce Robinson is supposedly going to be back, if you are to believe that. As many of you know that listen to this show on a consistent basis, I am a skeptic. You got to prove it to me, especially after the last couple of weeks where the injury updates were not very forthcoming on who did and who did not play. I'm skeptical. But the fact that they even said that Deuce is probably going to make it, that's important. A couple of reasons. Number one, he's got a bit of a glow to him when he walks on the field that the other team knows we probably can't handle this guy one-on-one. I don't care if it's Miami, Stanford, or anybody in between. Not many teams are going to be able to handle a 6'6", 223-pound wide receiver. He's just that guy. He's an NFL player. So having him out there, there's a confidence to it, and it's also a bit of a concern if you're the Cardinal. Secondarily, it just changes your defensive calls. It makes it easier for Florida State's run game, especially with Tommy. I'll talk about his injury in a second. Being banged up last week, I would really like it, and I'm sure many of you would as well, if Castellanos did not have to run much, if at all, against Stanford, and you still got a double-digit win. How do you do that? Run game and pass game, traditionally speaking, in both sectors, just being really good. Tommy throws it. Tommy walks up to the line of scrimmage on the next play. Walking, not running. Tommy got banged up a little bit in that last game. I'm sure they're not going to talk about it much. That's just how this works. But I don't want to see him taking any more shots, regardless of what his current injury status is. And with Stanford, probably playing more cover 2, cover 3, cover 4 because of Deuce in the lineup. We'll see how much he plays. I'm just assuming he'll get 30 snaps or more. I would imagine Sawchuk, Chroma, even Jalen Lucas, they've got a chance to do some damage. And, of course, Mekhi Danzy on sweeps, etc. Here's my question. Do they really force feed the ball to Deuce, or are they using more as of a decoy? And I'm okay with it either way, just to be clear. If he's able to play, that's one thing. The last thing you want to do, and no offense to Stanford, is throw the ball to him a bunch and him take shots and him be injured again for the back part of the season. And it's a game you should win. I mean, Florida State is, for the record, they opened up around 17.5-point favorites this week. Stanford is not good. If Deuce gets hurt and he's out 2 or 3 weeks because you played him against Stanford, that's rough. So while I definitely want him to play, he needs to be real with himself, the trainers and everything else. Norvell will play the best players, as he should, but Deuce needs to know when to pull himself out. If he's not really ready to go, don't play. Just because they think you're ready, you've got to know it. You've got to prove it. And you've also got to finish the rest of the 2025 season for the Florida State Seminoles. This is a very touchy thing. And I've never heard a good answer from coaches because I'm not sure there is one. I've even had somebody tell me that. When guys are coming off injury, how much do you practice them? How much do you hit them in practice? How much do you let them go during the game? How many reps do you cut? Because every player is different. But again, when Deuce is on the field, they're not going to have the ability to play like cover 1 against him. I mean, if they want to, they can. Good luck. They're not going to do that. And because of it, Florida State's run game should flourish. And to that point, speaking of injuries, Randy Pittman should be back. That's a big deal for the run game and the pass game. He's a very unique football player. He'll have more one-on-ones, just as an example. Wayne McCoy will have more one-on-ones. Squirrel should be back. It's kind of what I took from what I heard today from Tim. I don't know. But again, I'm at the point I don't believe anything they say because I don't think Norvell wants his coaches giving us information. Tim's a real honest guy, by the way. He's a great guy. But after listening to his press conference, I'm not sure. But all those guys are going to get more one-on-ones if Deuce is on the field. That's huge. You got to have those guys. So here are a few questions that I have in general regarding the injuries. Let me know in the comments what you think. Just, again, I'm not sure there's a perfect answer for any of these, but is Tommy really injured? And let me define the word injured for you. Meaning there's a chance that he may not play, but he pulled through this week. You're not going to announce that your quarterback, especially in a running offense for the quarterback, is banged up with any kind of leg injury or anything. But if you remember back early in that game, second drive maybe, against Pitt, he got clobbered pretty good down by the goal line. Came up limping a little bit. Is that something that was just like he got a little stinger or something? Or is that, okay, I'm not sure what's going on here, and he just fought through it? I have no idea. And again, zero chance Florida State's going to announce it. But if Tommy needs to just hand off and throw the ball this week, I'm cool with it. It's football. He sacrifices his body every week for Florida State. I'm down with it. Can't allow him to get hit. If Sperry needs to play or anybody else, situational football, Wildcat, whatever it is, got to make it work. If you can't beat Stanford without Tommy Castellanos, you know what? This season was a wash anyway. To that end, like, he's still got to be honest with everybody. Tommy's a prideful young man. He's really competitive. I mean, like, to a fault. He needs to not take any hits this week if he's banged up. Again, I don't know if he is, but he's got to avoid them. And above all else, don't call your own number on some kind of check. Find a way to get the ball out to somebody else, to let him run, Jalen, whoever it is, Sawchuk, I don't care. Be smart. Secondarily, the first quarter, especially if you've got Deuce, you guys come out and you can put points on the board early. My fears, as I'm sure it is for many of you, could be alleviated. Is that realistic, though? I think it is, but especially with Deuce, you got to score early if he's on the field. Like the first or second drive, you got to punch it. And the offense played pretty good last week for the most part, but it was way better when Deuce was on the field. They only scored 10 points in the second half when he didn't play. He changes games. So if he's available, are you going to come out and make plays because they're in cover two and you're just gashing them for 4 to 6 yards in the inside zone and some gap plays, maybe a counter here or there, maybe a reverse to Makai, whatever? Need to set the tone early. Is that going to happen? It should, with or without him. But if you have Deuce, is there any reason that you shouldn't set the tone offensively? Let me hear your thoughts. Number 3, who makes a play in general? Forget offense, forget defense, special teams, just in general. Which guy makes a play for Florida State that changes the momentum of the game? Especially, again, I'm going to say this for the rest of the show. From the moment you get the clock running, you got to get a lead. You're on the road. It's a game that I know Florida State players don't care about. They can say otherwise. They're not excited to play Stanford. I'm not a fool. They're not a very good team. Who steps up, sets the example, gets the juice going for Florida State? Is it a special teams hit? Is it Big Darrell splitting the double team and getting the tackle for loss? Is it Makai Danzig taking a screen and going 60 yards for a touchdown? Who makes a play early in the game against Stanford that changes the outcome of the game? Who's it going to be? And then finally here, number 4, does Florida State just not shoot itself in the foot? Dumb penalties, run gap fits being messed up, poor tackling angles. Every week, Florida State has something it seems to add to its list of self-inflicted wounds. That's got to go away. The injuries have been a problem. I get it, but you're getting some guys back, getting some leaders back. This is about pride. Are you going to come out and show it against Stanford? What's everybody think on that? Do you or do you not believe that Florida State's going to come out and really apply themselves and try to take it to Stanford from the outset of the ballgame? I'm not sure on that one. If they do, I mean, they're way more talented. There's a reason Florida State is literally a 17.5-point favorite. Just saying. When we come back, we're going to finish up with a little basketball. Coach Waux has had a pretty interesting press conference. I'm a basketball guy, grew up in Indiana. I'm pretty interested. We're going to talk some FSU hoops next here on Locked on Seminoles. Today's show is brought to you by Wayfair. The holidays are going to be here before you know it, which is exciting, but getting your home ready for guests and celebrations can feel like a lot. Maybe you need some new silverware. Maybe it's some plates. Maybe you need a guest room refresh. Maybe it's new bedding. Wayfair has everything you need to get your home ready for the holidays. Christmas trees, wreaths, bedding, cookware, outdoor inflatables. It's your one-stop shop for everything in your home. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home for the holidays. Huge selections on every style and budget, and it's got free and easy delivery on top of that. So whether you're just trying to get a little more of a holiday feel, maybe you got to replace some things that are old, maybe it's lights, Wayfair has you covered. Get organized, refreshed, and ready for the holidays for less. Head to wayfair.com. That's wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style and every home. We are also brought to you by SupplyHouse. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Real-time inventory, honest lead times, they keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Like anybody else, sometimes you're going to need something really quick, like next day quick. SupplyHouse can get you next day delivery, and you can even talk to an expert about it to make sure you get exactly what you need for your business. Join the free Trade Master program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people and real service. All right, let's talk a little Florida State basketball. This is interesting because the Noles finally have the end of the Leonard Hamilton regime. And I don't follow Florida State basketball that much, but I listen to press conferences and I watch things, I read articles, and I listen to Luke discuss the upcoming game on Thursday with Alabama. And I was shocked at what he said. Now, keep in mind, the preseason poll has Florida State picked 15th in the ACC. They're not very good based on what the media thinks. I don't know anything about the roster yet. I'm just starting to learn it. But I'm going to learn through osmosis and just let it kind of happen naturally. I'll read the previews and all that again. I've been doing that, but I really don't know these guys. So when I heard him talk with as much excitement as he did about attacking, being the most aggressive offense, taking the first good shot, I'm thinking like, this sounds like Dean Smith, 1980s and 90s, scoring 92 points a game in an ACC contest. This is going to be pretty fun. And he wanted to play, according to Luke Waux, he wanted to play all four of the teams in the Final Four from last season this year. Like, the guy's fearless. That's the kind of player, the kind of coach I can get behind. And because he was a former Florida State player, I think he really bleeds Seminoles, and I think that's going to help long term. They're recruiting very well for what it's worth. According to the On3 rankings, they're number 8 class in the country. So the guy's putting in the effort. Hats off to everybody on the Florida State basketball staff for getting that done. But above all else, I just love the interview, like the energy that he showcased. It was pretty impressive. Not saying that Florida State basketball is going to the Final Four or anything, but I'm going to cover it. I'm going to watch them. I have a reason to be excited about it. I love college basketball. I grew up in Indiana. It's part of my blood. It's going to be fun to watch this team and see how they develop and they recruit, etc. They're playing with house money. They have nothing they can really lose. So it's going to be interesting. And I'm very excited about it. Again, it's 8:00 tip-off, I believe, Eastern time, Thursday night. They play Bama. It's just an exhibition. I don't even know if it's on any TV or anything. I haven't even checked that far yet. But I'm like, I give you credit. Alabama was legit last year. They were one of the best teams in the country. That's going to be fun to kind of see where they're at. And they've got some other big games. And when they get, oh, by the way, I looked ahead. When they get in the ACC schedule, there's not going to be any fooling around there. First 2 games, they've got a game at North Carolina, then a home to Duke right out of the gate in the ACC. Good luck, coach. That's going to be fun. Thank you very much for making Locked On Seminoles a part of your day each and every day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Like and subscribe, share this podcast, and become an everydayer. If you are on Apple listening to this, hit that automatic download so you can get Locked On Seminoles every chance that I put up a podcast. We will see you again soon.